we are changing the narrative. We are turning the tide. We are rewriting midlife on our terms.
Yes. Well, it's a good time to be alive. I mean, this is a good age. I know there's some ups and downs, but I wouldn't trade it for my 20s, you know?
Mm, mm.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, I wouldn't trade it for my 20s. I could maybe trade it for, I take the energy of my 30s.
yeah.
I take the sleep of my 30s. I would take the high octane, have a lot more at capacity 30s. I don't mind that I get to like I be more discerning, have more boundaries. But it wasn't, I wouldn't say that that was by choice. I would say that
It
it's,
never is.
it never is.
This is just live and learn and,
Right.
toughen
And
up,
just make it work.
toughen up a little, right? But you threw a wrench in the whole thing. You have a toddler, basically. So, I mean, you have a different route on this one. Most of us are launching our kids into the universe and, going out on
Yeah.
our own solo again. So you've got a little bit different situation.
Yeah, our friend Cynthia Thurlow just sent her son back to college, and I think it's interesting how many friends that are either in peri or early menopause are launching children or definitely have them launch. And I just went to the pre-K meet and greet last night with all the other kids and the parents. And yeah, it was really interesting. I'm like, huh. But you know what? A lot of women are like me. We are having children later. And hence why I think one of the reasons why perimenopause is maybe hitting harder is that there really isn't a gap or a pause or a break between, young children, postpartum, and then heading into peri.
Yeah. Yeah, I could not imagine. My best friend had a baby at 40 and I was like, "What are you doing? We were supposed to escape together." We were supposed
You
to
have set us back 20 years.
seriously. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's a lovely child, but it was tough on her. That's a tough one. She was
Yeah.
excited about it at the time, but like it takes its toll. These are not
No, it
our
takes, yeah.
20s.
Yeah, no, when they get sick, I was like, oh, I'm no more, I can't sleep. Don't y'all know that sleep is going to make or break me the next day? And I got a sick kid with a fever every month on the month because they're building an immune system. Yeah, no, I was asking my mom who had me when she was 18, 19, and she's like, yeah, I don't remember the sleep stuff. I don't remember. I was like, you were 20.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 40. It's a very different 43, whatever it was. Is a very different ball game. So yeah, I do see the benefit of having children earlier. I get why we're having them later, but yeah, definitely a different level of capacity when you're in your 20s and 30s.
I always say if I wish that I had the patience and the knowledge and just the calmness that I possessed in my 40s when I had my daughter, it would have been I would have been a whole different level of mother. But that said, there's no bandwidth at all that I could have fathomed in my 40s having a baby. I would have been like, no, this is too hard. This is the losing sleep part alone that was miserable for me in my 20s. Yeah, it's a hard thing. I think we're going through a lot of transitions. We're going through a lot of levels. It's like leveling up, right? It reminds me of it. It really reminds me of just puberty, only the older version.
The older, the reverse.
Yeah.
I know I'm sure you've seen the term cougar puberty instead of second puberty. I love that. But no, it is, instead of ascension, and not to say that there aren't things that we're contending with as teenagers or preteens, the anxiousness, just trying to navigate the awkwardness of becoming, even a teenager into adulthood like that. It's very messy. I remember it being very destabilizing as a teenager. I remember not really understanding my body or understanding myself, and no one prepping me really for my period. But very different ball game when you are now mothering, and you've got your career and you've got family and community, and you're really holding all the things in the air, and your body is, in a way, it feels like a bit of a betrayal at times. You're like, wait, whoa, I have way too many responsibilities that I need to be handling. Like I need to be able to sleep. I need to have energy. I need to have some level of stress resilience. I need power and strength to get through this phase. And it's all while it's beginning to crumble. And if you're not prepared or ready, or no one told you or warned you, it gets really messy very quickly.
Yes, it absolutely. I think for me, the biggest issue was cognition. Like that's what I really started seeing slip. And I thought, am I getting Alzheimer's? What is happening? And, realizing that I was just having brain shifts. It was my daughter, it was my adult daughter who said, Mom, I think you need some estrogen. I don't know what that does, but I've been hearing about that in the brain. And I was like, you're right, that there is a very distinct connection there. And she's like, I think you might want to try some. So leave it to the
Oh, look at her
kids.
looking out for you. Yeah, my son just finishes my sentences. Like I was telling you guys before we jumped on, I was trying to hand him grapes and I was like, here's your blueberries, your cherries. He's like, grapes? And I was like, yeah, you're effing grapes. And I wasn't saying that to him. It was more me frustrated with myself that I couldn't even get the word grapes out of my mouth. And this is every day. I call it perimenopause in the wild, where friends are forgetting words. Friends are not remembering where they left something. Friends are feeling irritable and stressed, and everyone's getting on their nerves. I'm like, oh, that's just perimenopause in the wild. Like I see it all the time.
That's a good term for it. I like that. Well, so you're such a fierce advocate for women in general. And I mean, even as a friend, you're such a fierce advocate for all of us. And I know that perimenopause, like you had a few things going. You had a baby, you had a head injury, like you've just had a time the last few years. And what's come of this is this awesome book that's coming to life. You've birthed this great book. So let's talk about your perimenopause experience. How has
Yeah.
this been thus far?
It has been a reckoning. Let's just call it. The book is really what I wish I had when I was going through it. Because it's one thing, and I know you've had so many patients in midlife, in perimenopause, in menopause, and it's one thing to be taking care of your patients and trying to help them navigate through all of these symptoms, especially the brain-related symptoms. It's another thing when it happens to you, and that's what you're saying. You're like, it was the cognitive changes have been so profound, and I felt like I wasn't warned. I didn't realize it was going to be that bad. I think the brain injury didn't help at all. Talk about more oxidative stress. In 2023, my son was 2. I was still breastfeeding. And I remember I was feeling on top of the world. I was 43 years old. I had just turned 43 in September. And I decided to up level my training. I wanted to train harder. I wanted to train heavier. I was already working out sometimes 2 days a week, or not, sorry, 2 times a day, not 2 days a week, 2 times a day. Like we're talking mini, like I'll do like 15 minutes in the afternoon, 45 minutes, but I just had that capacity. So I get the trainer. I'm really training hard, and I just become a puddle on the floor. Like my energy is gone. My brain isn't working. I start having, and it wasn't like they were cyclical symptoms, but it felt like early stages of burnout again. It felt like maybe my thyroid was coming offline. Maybe I needed to shift my medication. We actually did shift my medication, and that didn't go well. I ended up feeling more hypothyroid than anything. But I remember like I was trying to fill in the dots. And I think a lot of women find themselves here. I was just interviewing Dr. Jessica Drummond in the kind of the interception of perimenopause and chronic illness, and how many women are coming into perimenopause already struggling with insulin resistance or polycystic ovarian syndrome or burnout, not being able to regulate their nervous system.